The call came on a Sunday night, my best friend's voice cracking with excitement and desperation in equal measure. He proposed. Oh my God, he proposed. I screamed with her, celebrated with her, stayed on the phone for an hour while she described every detail of the ring, the moment, the dream. A week later, she called again. This time, the excitement was gone, replaced by something fragile. The wedding is going to cost more than we thought. His parents can't help as much as they promised. I don't know what to do. I heard the fear in her voice, the same fear I'd heard when her father got sick, when she lost her job, when life kept knocking her down. Let me rewind. My name is Maya. I'm 34, a financial analyst, and I've known my best friend Jenna since we were 7 years old. We grew up together, went to school together, survived adolescence together. She was the sister I never had, the one who knew my secrets, who showed up at my door with ice cream after every breakup, who celebrated every success like it was her own. Jenna had always been the dreamer, the romantic. I was the pragmatist, the one with the spreadsheets and the savings account. We balanced each other. She taught me to feel, I taught her to plan. When she met Mark, I was cautiously optimistic. He seemed nice, stable, good for her. When they got engaged, I was genuinely happy. The wedding planning was chaotic, as wedding planning always is. Jenna wanted the fairy tale, the venue, the dress, the flowers, the whole production. Mark wanted to keep it simple, save money for a house. His parents, who'd promised to contribute, pulled back when they realized how much it would cost. Jenna's family had nothing to give. She was in tears, convinced her dream wedding was falling apart. That's when I made the offer. Jenna, I have savings. I can help. She stared at me, disbelief on her face. Maya, I can't ask you to do that. You're not asking. I'm offering. How much do you need? We talked it through. The total shortfall was $30,000, enough to cover the venue deposit, the dress, the catering, all the pieces Jenna had been panicking about. I had it. I'd been saving for years, living below my means, building a cushion. This was what cushions were for, right? Helping the people you love? This isn't a gift, I said. It's a loan. You can pay me back whenever you're able. No interest, no pressure. Jenna cried. She hugged me so tight, I couldn't breathe. I'll pay you back every penny. I promise. You're the best friend anyone could ever have. We wrote up a simple promissory note. Nothing formal, just a document we both signed, stating the amount and her agreement to repay. I didn't think I'd ever need it. It was just a formality, a way to make us both feel like it was real. The wedding was beautiful. Jenna was radiant. Mark looked at her like she was the only woman in the world. I cried during the vows, happy tears for my friend who'd finally found her happiness. The thank you note arrived 3 weeks later. Handwritten, gushing, full of love and promises. I'll never forget what you did for us. We're going to start paying you back as soon as we're settled. I never got another payment. The first year after the wedding, Jenna and I talked less.
It happens, right?
Newlyweds are busy building their life. I didn't take it personally. When we did talk, she always mentioned the money. As soon as we're stable, once Mark's bonus comes through. After we get back on our feet. I always said the same thing. No rush. Whenever you can. The second year, the conversations became more strained. Jenna seemed different, distracted, distant, quick to end calls. I assumed it was marriage, work, life. I didn't push. The third year, I heard through a mutual friend that Jenna and Mark were having problems. Serious problems, the friend said. I think they might be heading for divorce. I was shocked. They'd seemed so happy, so perfect together. But I knew better than to pry. I waited for Jenna to reach out, to tell me herself. She never did. The divorce papers arrived in my mailbox on a Tuesday. Not from Jenna, from a law firm I didn't recognize. Inside was a notice that Jenna and Mark were dissolving their marriage and that their assets and debts were being divided. Included in the list of debts was the $30,000 loan, listed as unsecured personal loan from Maya Chin, friend of the wife. I stared at the document, my mind reeling. Jenna hadn't told me. She hadn't warned me, hadn't explained, hadn't given me any chance to prepare. She just listed me as a creditor in her divorce, reducing our friendship to a line item in a legal filing. I called her immediately. It went to voicemail. I texted. No response. I emailed. Nothing. A week later, I got a letter. Handwritten, on plain paper, from Jenna. Maya, I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I've been a coward. I didn't know how to tell you that everything is falling apart. Mark and I are getting divorced. The money we owe you, it's caught up in all of it. His lawyer says it's a marital debt, that we're both responsible. My lawyer says it's my personal debt because you lent it to me, not us. I don't know what's true. I don't know what to do.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. Jenna. I read the letter 3 times. Then I called my lawyer. The lawyer, a woman named Priya, who'd helped me with other matters, listened to the whole story. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. Maya, this is messy. The promissory note is in your name, but if the money was used for a wedding, a marital expense, it could be considered joint debt. It depends on the laws in your state, the wording of the note, and how the divorce court classifies it. What does that mean for me? It means you're now involved in their divorce. You may need to intervene, to file a claim, to protect your interests. It also means your friendship with Jenna is going to be tested in ways you never imagined. I sat back, the weight of it all crashing down on me.
$32,000.
A lifetime of friendship. And now a legal battle I never wanted. The divorce proceedings moved faster than I expected. Within weeks, Jenna and Mark were in mediation, fighting over assets, debts, and the remains of their marriage. I was caught in the middle, a creditor neither of them wanted to acknowledge. Jenna's lawyer argued that the loan was Mark's responsibility too. After all, the wedding was for both of them. Mark's lawyer countered that I'd lent the money to Jenna, not to him, and that she should bear the full burden. Meanwhile, I sat on the sidelines, watching my friendship and my money get shredded in a legal battle I never asked to join. Priya advised me to stay out of the divorce proceedings for as long as possible. Let them fight it out, she said. If they settle, you might get paid without having to get involved. If they don't, you can file a claim later. But staying out was harder than it sounded. Mutual friends reached out, wanting to know what was happening, taking sides, spreading gossip. Some said I was a saint for lending the money. Others said I was a fool for getting involved in someone else's marriage. A few even suggested I was profiting from their divorce, as if wanting my money back was somehow greedy. I stopped answering calls. I stopped checking social media. I retreated into my work, my routines, my carefully constructed walls. Then, 3 months into the divorce proceedings, I got a call from Jenna. Her voice was raw, exhausted.
Maya.
Can we talk? I hesitated. About what? About everything. The money. The marriage.
Us.
I need to see you. We met at a neutral coffee shop, the same one where we'd celebrated her engagement years ago. She looked terrible, thin, pale, her eyes red-rimmed. I looked at her and saw a stranger wearing my best friend's face. I'm sorry, she began. I know that's not enough. I know I've handled this terribly. But I need you to understand what happened. I waited. When Mark and I started having problems, I didn't know how to tell you. I was ashamed. You'd given us this amazing gift, this loan, and we were throwing it away. I thought if I could just fix things, make the marriage work, I could pay you back and you'd never have to know how bad it got. But you didn't fix it.
No.
It got worse. Mark lost his job. We fought constantly. The money we were supposed to use to pay you back went to bills, to lawyers, to just surviving. And then when we decided to divorce, the loan became this weapon. His lawyer uses it to paint me as irresponsible. My lawyer uses it to paint him as a freeloader. And you're caught in the middle. I felt a surge of anger, not at her, but at the situation. At the way money had poisoned everything. Jenna, I don't care about the divorce. I don't care about Mark. I care about you, about us, about the $30,000 you promised to pay back. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. I know, and I don't know how to make it right. The divorce is going to leave me with nothing. No assets, no savings, no way to pay you. I'm going to be starting over from zero. Then we figure it out.
Together.
But you have to stop hiding from me. She reached across the table and took my hand. I'm so sorry. I should have told you everything from the beginning. We talked for hours after that. About the marriage, the money, the future. By the end, we'd made a plan. I would file a claim in the divorce court, not as an adversary, but as a creditor seeking repayment. Jenna would support the claim, acknowledging the debt and her intention to repay. Mark's share would be determined by the court. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it was a start. The court date was set for 6 weeks out. I prepared my evidence, the promissory note, the emails, the timeline. Priya coached me on what to expect. Jenna and I talked regularly, rebuilding the trust that had been broken. But Mark's lawyer was aggressive. He argued that the loan was a gift, not a debt. That Jenna had coerced me into lending the money. That I was only filing a claim now because I saw an opportunity to profit from their divorce. It was absurd, offensive, and legally baseless. But it was also a sign of how ugly this was going to get. The night before the hearing, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Mark. Maya, I know we've never been close. But I need you to hear me out. Jenna is lying to you. She's been lying for years. The money, she used some of it for things you don't know about. Things that have nothing to do with the wedding. I felt my blood run cold. What are you talking about? Ask her about the trip to Vegas. Ask her about the credit card debt she hid from me. Ask her why she really needed that money. He hung up before I could respond. I didn't sleep that night. Mark's words echoed in my head, planting seeds of doubt I couldn't ignore. Vegas. Credit card debt. Things I didn't know about. I wanted to believe Jenna, to trust that our friendship was stronger than whatever Mark was trying to do. But the doubt was there, gnawing at me. The next morning, I called Jenna. No answer. I texted. Nothing. I drove to her apartment, but she wasn't there. Panic rising, I went to the one place I knew I might find answers, the courthouse, where the divorce records were public. The clerk pulled the files without question. I sat in a quiet corner of the courthouse library, my hands shaking, and read through the entire divorce proceeding. What I found made my blood run cold. Mark wasn't entirely lying. Jenna had indeed taken a trip to Vegas, 6 months before the wedding, with friends I didn't know. She'd charged thousands of dollars to credit cards that were later consolidated into the debt she'd asked me to help with. The wedding wasn't the only thing my money had paid for. It had funded a bachelorette party, a shopping spree, a weekend of excess that Jenna had never mentioned. But there was more. Much more. Jenna had also taken out loans from other friends, smaller amounts, but still significant. She'd borrowed $5,000 from her cousin, $3,000 from a coworker, $2,000 from an old college friend. None of them had been repaid. None of them knew about each other. And then there was Mark. His financial records showed that he'd been supporting Jenna for years, paying her bills, covering her debts, trying to keep them afloat. The wedding, the dream wedding, had been his attempt to give her something she wanted, despite the mounting evidence that she couldn't be trusted with money. I closed the file, my mind reeling. Jenna, my best friend since childhood, had been lying to me, lying to everyone, building a life on borrowed money and broken promises. I called Priya. She listened in silence, then spoke carefully. Maya, this changes things. If Jenna misrepresented the purpose of the loan, if she used the money for things she didn't disclose, that could be considered fraud. You might have grounds to pursue her directly, not just as a creditor in the divorce. Fraud? I don't want to call it that. She's my friend. She's your friend who lied to you, manipulated you, and used your money for things she never told you about. You need to decide how you want to handle this. I hung up and sat in my car, staring at the courthouse, feeling the weight of 25 years of friendship crumbling around me. That evening, Jenna finally called. Her voice was small, frightened. Maya, I know you went to the courthouse. I know you saw the files. I did. I can explain.
Please.
Let me explain. Explain what, Jenna? That you lied to me? That you used my money for Vegas and shopping and God knows what else? That you've been borrowing from everyone you know and paying no one back? She was crying now, ugly sobs that made her words almost unintelligible. I have a problem. I know I have a problem. I've been in debt for years, hiding it from everyone, taking out loans to pay off other loans, digging myself deeper and deeper. The wedding was supposed to be a fresh start.
Mark was supposed to save me.
But it just made everything worse. A fresh start on my dime? On the backs of everyone who loves you.
I know. I'm so sorry.
I've been seeing a therapist. I'm in a debt management program. I'm trying to get better. But I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't know how to face what I'd done. I wanted to be angry. I was angry. But underneath the anger was a deeper, more painful emotion. Grief. Grief for the friend I thought I had, the trust that was broken, the future we'd never have. Jenna, I need time. I need to think about what this means for us. For the money. For everything. I understand. Take all the time you need. I'll be here when you're ready to talk. She hung up. I sat in the dark, alone with my thoughts and the wreckage of our friendship. The next few weeks were a blur of confusion and pain. I talked to Priya, to my therapist, to a few trusted friends who didn't know Jenna. Everyone had an opinion. Sue her, forgive her, cut her off, help her. No one could tell me what was right. I went back to the courthouse and withdrew my claim. Not because I was giving up, because I needed to separate myself from the chaos of their divorce. Whatever happened between Jenna and Mark was their business. My business was figuring out what I owed to myself and what I owed to a friendship that might already be dead. Then one night I got an envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside was a handwritten note from Jenna. Maya. I'm writing this because I can't say it in person. I'm entering a rehabilitation program for gambling addiction. It's a 90-day inpatient program. I won't have my phone or computer. When I come out, I'll be different. I'll be better. I'm not asking you to wait for me. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just telling you the truth, finally, and hoping that someday you might understand. I love you. I always have. I'm sorry for everything. Jenna. 90 days. That's how long Jenna would be in treatment. 90 days of silence, of not knowing if she was getting better or falling apart, of wondering if our friendship would survive. I told myself I wouldn't wait. I told myself I'd move on, focus on my life, let her go. But every day, I found myself thinking about her, about our childhood, our shared history, the bond one thought was unbreakable, about the $30,000 and what it represented, not just money, but trust, love, the belief that we'd always be there for each other. The first month was the hardest. I'd catch myself reaching for my phone to text her, then remember, she wasn't there. I'd hear a song we loved, see a movie we'd planned to watch, and feel the absence like a physical ache. I was grieving, I realized, grieving the friend I'd lost, the friendship that might never come back. I threw myself into work. I started a new project, something creative that demanded all my attention. I reconnected with other friends, the ones I'd neglected during the years when Jenna was my everything. I even went on a few dates, nothing serious, just reminders that the world was full of people I hadn't met yet. But at night, alone in my apartment, the thoughts would creep back. The money, the lies, the possibility that Jenna might come out of treatment and still be the same person who'd betrayed me. I started seeing a therapist myself. Not because I was broken, because I needed help sorting through the tangle of emotions. She helped me understand that forgiveness wasn't a switch I could flip. It was a process, a journey, and it might take years. She also helped me see that forgiving Jenna didn't mean forgetting what she'd done. It meant releasing the anger, so I could move forward, with or without her. The second month, I got a letter. Not from Jenna, from the treatment center. A form letter, really, but with a handwritten note at the bottom from a counselor. Dear Maya, Jenna has asked us to update you on her progress. She's been doing the work, attending sessions, engaging with the program. She talks about you often, with love, with regret, with hope that someday you might speak again. We can't tell you what to do, but we can tell you that she's trying.
Truly trying.
Sincerely, Dr. Rachel Morris. I read the note 3 times, tears streaming down my face. She was trying. That was something. The third month, I made a decision. I would go to her graduation from the program. Not to confront her, not to demand answers, just to be there. To show up. To see for myself who she'd become. The day arrived. I drove to the treatment center, a peaceful campus in the countryside, and found my way to the graduation hall. Families were gathered, celebrating their loved ones. I spotted Jenna immediately. She looked different, healthier, calmer, but also nervous, scanning the crowd. When she saw me, her face crumpled. She walked toward me, slowly at first, then faster, until we were standing face to face. "You came," she whispered. "I came." We hugged, and for the first time in months, I felt something other than anger. Complicated, yes, but not anger. After the ceremony, we found a quiet bench and talked. Really talked. About her addiction, her lies, her years of hiding. About my hurt, my confusion, my struggle to understand. About the money, still unresolved, still a weight between us. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said. "I don't expect you to trust me. But I want you to know that I'm going to pay you back. Every penny. It might take years, but I will. Jenna, I don't care about the money as much as I care about the friendship." "I know. But the money is part of it. I took something from you that wasn't mine. I need to give it back." We talked for hours, until the sun set and the stars came out. When I finally left, I didn't know what the future held. But I knew one thing. I was glad I'd come. The first payment arrived 6 months after Jenna's graduation. A check for $500, folded into a handwritten note. Month 1. 59 more to go. I stared at it for a long time, tears pricking my eyes. She was doing it. She was actually doing it. Over the next 5 years, the payments kept coming, sometimes $500, sometimes less, never late, always with a note. Month 12. I got a promotion. Month 24. Paid off my credit card. Month 36. Mark and I finally settled the divorce. He's paying his share now, too. And then, on a Tuesday afternoon, 5 years and 3 months after that first payment, the final check arrived. The final check was for $1,200, the last of the $30,000, plus a little extra for interest, though I'd never asked for it. The note attached was longer than usual. "Maya, today marks the end of a long road. 5 years ago, I was in the darkest place of my life, and you showed up. Not with anger, not with demands, but with presence. You came to my graduation. You believed I could change. You gave me a chance when I didn't deserve one. I've spent every day since trying to become someone worthy of that chance. I've paid my debts, rebuilt my life, learned to live with honesty instead of hiding. I'm not the person who borrowed $30,000 for a wedding she couldn't afford. I'm someone new, someone I'm proud of. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for being the friend I didn't deserve. All my love, Jenna." I sat on my couch, the check in my hand, and cried. Not from sadness, from relief, from gratitude, from the overwhelming sense that something broken had been mended. The next weekend, Jenna came to visit. We spent the day together just like old times, coffee, walks, long conversations. But it wasn't like old times. It was better. Because now, everything was out in the open. The lies, the pain, the recovery, the payments. All of it acknowledged, all of it processed, all of it behind us. "I'm proud of you," I told her as we watched the sunset from my balcony. She smiled, her eyes wet. "I'm proud of me too, and I'm grateful for you. For everything." We talked about the future, her plans to start a small business, my new job, the possibility of a vacation together someday. We talked about Mark, who'd remarried and moved away, and about the other friends she'd hurt, some of whom had forgiven her, some of whom hadn't. "Not everyone was as patient as you," she said quietly. "I understand why. I hurt a lot of people." "You did. But you're making it right. That's all any of us can do." As the sun dipped below the horizon, I thought about the journey we'd been on. The lone, The lies, the divorce, the treatment, the payments, the forgiveness. It had taken years, cost us both dearly, and changed us in ways we couldn't have imagined. But we were still here, still friends, still connected by a bond that had been tested and proven stronger than I'd ever thought possible. The micro niche here isn't just friendship loans or financial betrayal. It's about the long, painful work of redemption, not just for the person who did wrong, but for the person who was wronged. It's about learning that forgiveness isn't a single moment, but a process that takes years and requires effort from both sides. It's about understanding that people can change, that trust can be rebuilt, and that some friendships are worth fighting for. Have you ever been in a situation where money threatened a friendship? Did you find a way back? Or did you have to let go? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's talk about the complicated intersection of love, money, and trust. And if this story of loans, lies, and hard-won redemption resonated with you, share it. Sometimes, the most important investments aren't financial, they're emotional. And the returns can take years to realize. Thanks for listening.